A boy, a boy, say. Ah, a boro boy, a boshi she. Lori, I will. Ile Ile Idingbe, Ile Temple, Ose Ifa, Ogwato, Asuri Wori Wafun. May the Orisha and Orunmila keep blessing us all. I hope all is well. It is Oluwo Latona Ifa Bileke, Prince of Ashokbo. Check us out at 2028 Woodland Drive, Charlotte, North Carolina. Shop with us on Etsy at Iyadudu Botanica. Join our community on Patreon. Ooh, we got a lot on Patreon. Ogwato. Baba Arogeti. Hope everybody is well. Man, so today's Ose Ifa, right? We got Egungun messages from yesterday. We got all kinds of information, right? And some of these Odus, when we receive them in one way, um, we understand certain things about them, but when we receive them in another way, I got my notes. When we see them in another way, they mean something else. And so Irete Otun is Irete on the left and Otura on the right. So this Odu Ifa, right? And you gotta message me if you want the verse, but it's a good verse. If I need, that means like what I say, you say. So I'm gonna try to go slow enough so that you can follow after me, that you can repeat the verse, right? Because there's Ashe in repeating the verse. Why is the verse important? Because it helps us to understand what's going on. And if it doesn't appear in the verse, then it's not real. It's what the Muslims would say. It's a bid'ah. It's a bid'ah. It's an innovation. It's something new. So if the Odu Ifa don't say it, then it's not real, right? Because everything comes into existence through the Odu Ifa. Do we agree? We have to agree. So the Odu is Irete Otun, Irete on the right, and Otura on the left. We know all Odu Ifa have two legs. Some say that the right leg is the physical and the left leg is the spiritual. I can believe it. We say, right, put your right foot forward. I guess this gives a deeper meaning to the leg of the Odu Ifa, right? And so we know we have two legs. The Odu Ifa mimics that as well. So Irete Otun is Ifani. We're not gonna say all the verse. Ifani Ayeni rere. I will need jojo. They cast Ifa for Orun-mi-Orun. They also cast Ifa for Ela-mi-Ela. the inhabitants of Orun-mi-Orun, and those of Ela-mi-Ela. Ifa says that when we wake up in the morning, let us extend greeting to one another. Failure to greet each other amounts to keeping malice. Orunmila, I'll wake up and greet you today. Honor of Okun be meant to render help. Please help me. Let me adorn my neck with Segi beads. Ashe, Ashe, we might get into a little bit more, but we will definitely complete it, right? So, like, we have to understand first what Ifa is talking about. Aye ni rere. That's the owl. The owl of ni jojo is manifesting, right? Right, through a particular type of sight or vision. Where do the blessings come from? My heaven. Orun-mi-Orun. Emphasis on Orun. Ela-mi-Ela. Emphasis on the Ela, right? It comes from heaven, right? Anywhere above the earth, right? Anywhere above the earth. Ela, right? That light that helps us to manifest. Avive, that light that helps us to manifest. So that light that helps us to manifest, or that manifestation light coming from heaven, right? Everything being light. This Odu Ifa is saying that we will be able to manifest from heaven, bending light, right? Because it gives shape to our blessings. How do we do that? Right? We got all kinds of people talking about you should make a bow, right? And we got all types of people saying we should do this and that, right? But what is the thing that carries the above? Say my prayers, Baba. Your prayers. Your prayer is the thing that carry the ebo, right? Because you're gonna do it more times than not, right? Your ebo may take 1 or 2 days, depending on who it is, right? Right. Even if in some of these other lineages that have you do these different things, right? Even if it take you a week, 5 days. But the typical time for ebo to manifest the meat and potatoes of that happening in 3 to 4 months. Right? So then we know with other readings, right, done with other ways, right, then you can do certain ones. But Ikin, your Ifa is the thing that give you the sight. So in this Odu, why is Ikin relevant and what does it have to do with sight? Because of the manifestation potential. So even though we're talking about manifesting, right, it's important that we understand how we manifest and what things inside the system help us to manifest. So to understand that, right, we get the messages from heaven. Orun-mi-Orun. What's my portion from heaven? Ela-mi-Ela. What Orisha, Orunmila, what tangible things will I have? What things will I see? What things will I have that are useful? Saying that we have to like use both of these together, right? Because it's giving us two things, heaven and light. And so how is it that we can see or measure the light from heaven in our lives, right? It's through Ikin. Again, how you know, Baba? Because Ifa tells us, right? No other organized religion can say the things that it says, right? And offer the things that are offered, and then be able to see it manifest in a particular time period. Like that's very specific. That's very specific. if I will tell you, hey, these things will happen in the next 3 to 4 months. These things gonna happen throughout the next year. These things gonna happen throughout your lifetime. So when it comes to manifesting, right, it's important we understand what it is because it's telling us this is what we're meeting in the morning, our destiny. The Odu where it talks about being able to manifest certain things and being able to conjure, right? Pray. I don't care what term you put on it, right? Manipulate. What energies can you manipulate for your best highest good today, right? What things can and can't you do with your destiny? What Orisha or energy support you? So the other day, we're like Monday, we were talking about it on the podcast. Me and Mama Mondays. Check us out Mondays at 4. TikTok. Monday we were discussing Ifa says is 1,001 deities that all agree that Orunmila is their spokesperson, their mouthpiece, because of different reasons, right? It was oration, patience, good outcome. It was these various different things, right? And it said whether it was Egungun, Osun, whether it was Shango or Ogun, whether it was Obatala. It said 1,001 deities, right? I don't know that many Orisha. I probably know 10, 15 times. But if I tell us in itself, right, there's 400 on one side, 400 on the other, right? 400 positive forces and 400 negative destructive forces, right? So even if we're talking about Orisha, right, in the world, let's say there's 400 Orisha, right? So in another system, there's another body of deity, right? Whether it be Bukuni, whether it be Candomblé, whether it be the Celtic, whether it be Norse, whether it be the Sumerians or the Mesopotamian or Egyptian. The list is compiled of all these deities, right? And it's 1,001. So Orunmila is the mouthpiece. So you saying that we can talk to Celtic deities through Ifa? Yes, Ifa says it. Can we talk to Mesopotamian deities through Ifa? Ifa says it. Ifa says it. Can you talk to your ancestors through Ifa? Yes, Ifa says it. We can't leave our ancestors, right? Our maternal and paternal lineage. We can't leave it out when we're talking about these deities. Ain't nobody gonna forget their granny. What about their pawpaw? I wanna offer them too. I wanna know what they got to say too. It's just as important. So before we even can get into like what Ifa's talking about or what it's telling us to do, we have to understand the context of the verse. So Ifa is saying that your destiny, when it's coming from heaven to earth, in a nutshell, right? When you coming from heaven to earth, when you coming from Orun to Iye, right? And you exist in spirit first, and then you start to slow down and solidify, and you become flesh. Just like all the things around you became, they were ideas first, and someone made them manifest. This Ose Ifa asks us to remember our manifestation potential and to ask clearly for those things, right? Be like, man, I ain't asking Ifa about no ladies. Ladies, I ain't asking Ifa about no man, right? Why not? We ain't asking about children, right? We should be asking about Ile. We should be asking about houses, cars, and we should be asking about all the things that we want out of life, right? We should be asking, right? Because the destiny or the time for us to have those things will manifest. Those times will manifest. Those things will manifest. If I tell us, man, ask for what you want. If I say closed mouth don't get fed, pray for the things you want earnestly, truthfully, with intention and conviction. If I say it right, no matter what it is, it's said in a verse. But what and when, right? What's one of those things that we can do, right, in order to help us to manifest those things? When do we need to do it? If I says in the morning. If I say in the morning on the verse, it says, fail to greet each other, right? Okay, it says, if I says that when we wake up in the morning, let us extend greeting to one another. Fail to greet each other amounts to keeping malice. Malice. Meet your blessing in the morning. Be asking for your blessing in the morning. Be getting up before your enemies do, right? So you can get yours off. No, that's not what it's saying. Looks, lady, that's not what it's saying, right? Just the verse, right? If we go based on what the verse say, it says just meet and talk with your Ifa, with your destiny, right? Because that's what the Ikin are. That's what your Ifa are. That's what your Ifa are. That's what your Ikin, your Ifa pot, your shrine, right? This is what the shrine for. I understand, right? You the shrine too. You absolutely right. But for this verse, it's saying that sit with your Ifa in the morning, right? Greet your Ifa. Don't do that. Don't forget to include these things. It says people, it gives a reference to okra, right? It says that you can get up and do something to get yourself in trouble, right? Because okra is one of those things that's like by Shango. You can get up and be on one in the morning, right? Get up and say your prayer. No, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. I understand, right? Those with E5 need to get up and need to do that. They should be, right? But if you don't, you can still get up, right, during this time. You can still get up in the morning, right, and sit there and articulate the things you want, right? Because really, you put yourself on a mission. This your Ori's marching orders. This is what you're telling the Orisha and the Orunmila that you want to accomplish, right? Whether it's a short-term goal or a long-term goal. If there's a certain amount of money you want to make during the day, right? These different things, just get up in the morning and meet with Ifa. Meet with your destiny when it's quiet, right? It doesn't even necessarily matter what you say, it could, right? When you get more adept at it, right? When you get your incantations down and you get everything um, together, right? You get your spell book, your Odu book, and stuff like that. But just get up during this time and pray. Failure to meet with your destiny, right? Sometimes people be at odds with themselves. Some people don't like to sit with themselves, right? This has you doing it in the morning. Sit with yourself. Talk to yourself. Organize your thoughts. Send your Orisha, your Orunmila, your Ori out on a mission. Damn. Don't be at odds with yourself. Let us adorn our neck with Segi. Those who pluck okra early enough, right? That's the trouble. Will be able to pluck Segi bead material. Ifa. What I pluck is Segi bead material, right? It's saying that instead of causing trouble, I will pick something for elevation. Let us discuss the things that will help elevate us. It could be a better job, right? It could be being sweet to your spouse, talking nice to the kids. It could be anything. It could be not being in a rush to work, not being doubtful. These are these are ways on how you elevate yourself, even just with your mentality, with the way you see things. It's a shift in perspective. Ifa declares for Orunmila, who amend the destiny of his Akapo. Ifa, please let me be blessed with wealth and be blessed with compatible spouse and also beautiful children. Please let me have my own property. Ifa, please bless me with all Iran life. Let people congratulate me on my good luck. Congratulations is the way we greet those where I'm sorry. Congratulations is the way we greet those who were blessed with wealth, Ashe, and those with compatible spouse, and those with beautiful children, and those that have properties of their own, and those blessed with all Iran life. If I please let me be given authority in the land, all noble, give authority to originally Ashe. So, right, we all have a certain amount of authority, right? Whether it's through our siblings or with our parents, if we parents, right? So it's not necessarily in that way, right? We all carry a certain amount of authority, but let you be worthy of it. How will you help yourself be worthy of the authority? By being elevated, nobleman, right? Not a regular person. You're not a regular person, especially when you're in the knowing. When you're in the knowing, right? You become more elevated, right? Everything you learn, every chant you say, every offering you give, right? It's an elevation because it draws you closer, right? It strengthens the connection between you and these energies, your energy. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. We the X Men. We the X Men. We the ones with the abilities, right? And we aware of those abilities, right? So what do we do to strengthen those, right? We learn. One of the things we do is pray. We make offerings. We exercise discipline. Struggling with what? Lux lady, is that you? That you struggling? No, I can't see who that is. Question. I can't read that. It's because I got on white. The lettering is what I probably need to change it. What you struggling with? So if I say it's victory over adversary for us, how is it that we can overcome adversary? Why, right? Through blessing, right? That's the way I like it. You know, not everybody will pray for their enemies, right? For them to be blessed. And I'm not saying I'm gonna pray for mine to be blessed either, but I'm not gonna pray for nothing to happen to them. Mm. What you say? They're complying to the culture. How you doing, Crystal? I don't. You know, we'd have to discuss. You know, Ifa's not that hard. You know, the learning is probably the most challenging. You know, being connected with the right people, and things like that. So it's hard. Goddess Re Aburu Boya Boshishe. How are you? Any questions? Right? No, Crystal, you gonna have to maybe message me or something. Um, so how does Irete Otun help us with victory over adversary? Right, through blessing. So it's showing us another thing too, that Ifa is not necessarily, it's not all about, fire and brimstone and punishing people and stuff like that, right? But it creates separation between us and our challenges, or us and our challenges, right? When we successfully complete a set of circumstances, when we learn, when we do different things, right? We gain ashe, right? It's responsibility. It's like getting the keys to the car, right? But you gotta have the car home on time, and you build up trust, right, with responsibility, the successful completion of responsibility. So how we have, you know victory? I hope it's through blessing. All right, we had the Odu yesterday, or we were discussing it yesterday in class. Oyeku Sa, where it says it's taboo. The Orisha, you can't send the Orisha, right? Whatever people are channeling in the name of the Orisha is not the Orisha, because they carry a particular vibration. Aburo boya boshishe yanifa. Ifa tomi lola. If I says that we're gonna have Ire spouse, and you'd be like, "Oh, I ain't looking for no man. I ain't trying to find nobody." It don't necessarily mean that. It can mean a shift in thinking. It can be awareness, something new that we will align with, right? That will help us produce something. I'm saying, oh, Marvel characters be the X-Men. All of y'all got a gift, right? You already know it, right? The thing is increasing it, right? And it's not easy. You gotta be disciplined. It's not taking anything off of anybody, right? It's not saying you don't know what you know, but there's a way to increase it, right? And it partly has to do with self-sacrifice, right? You have to go through some things. You're gonna be tested with the energy. You're gonna be tested by the Orisha. You're gonna be tested by your Ori. You're gonna be tested by people. Ajogun ED. If I says that we will have victory this week, we will align with spouse. Ashe, let it happen. Let us do something new. Right? Today's the day we do something that's never been done before. When we wake up in the morning and pray, we don't pray for today, right? The blessings are already on their way. We are praying to bring blessings tomorrow. So why is that important? Because the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Make Ifa, make the Orisha and the Orunmila tired of hearing you call them and asking them for spouse. That's what you want. Or peace with your spouse. That's what you need. Children, subordinate, right? Give birth to a project, right? That you be rightly guided, that's your destiny. So this is why it's important, right? Get up in the morning and pray. That's what Ifa said. This week, that's the message. Get up in the morning and pray for tomorrow. Put protection over your things, right? So it says that it's twofold. We should not only just pray for the creation of the thing, we should also be praying for the protection of it, the covering. Oshun says, Iraje. Ore, yeah, yeah, yo, Oshun. Oshun says, Iraje with a lafia, right? So again, we have different Orisha that are helping us to meet our goals, right? Ifa helps us to have victory over adversary and spouse. Oshun is bringing in those other forms of wealth, right? Those other things, right? Maybe some of the same things, those opportunities that bring wealth. That's what the river does, right? It brings in coolness and washes away those things that we don't no longer need, those things that don't serve us. Irete Otun, may you never be separated from your blessing, from your ire, right? Like Shango and the Bata drum. Bata drum is synonymous with Shango. Even if you say Bata in the verse is the shoe, the king is never without it, you know? It's like that with anything, right? You came in the world learning, and, we all have to continue. We should anyway, right? Because the day that you know everything is the day we will find ourselves in the upper room. But it's little by little, right? Being consistent, doing a little bit every day. You didn't learn your ABCs in one day, right? Ifa is a whole nother language, right? But in a nutshell, it is your self mastery, right? Your self worship, because that's what your destiny is. Everybody has one. People be saying stuff like, "Oh, you egocentric," or whatever, right? But Ifa is about self mastery, right? It's mastering those parts of you that's the hunter. It's mastering those parts of you that is the creator or the parent, the elder, right? It's the part of you that helps you to develop your opportunity. It's those parts of you, right, that help to form new things, right, and move over space and time, right, unrestricted. That's these are parts of you. This is what the Orisha are. They parts of you. What do you say? It's definitely a lot to learn. Being patient. Ashe, how you doing, honey bee? Benny, we gotta be. It's a lot, but what happens right with the Ifa reading, it helps you to. It's very personalized, and so that's what I tell people. So based on the reading, right, it'll tell us what energies are in the forefront. So this was where we start. So without that, right, you could just be learning some random things about the Orisha that don't necessarily apply. It's the things that don't necessarily apply. So how will we decide what things we teach you or coach you about, right? That's based on the ODE file, right? And so certain lineages may see certain things, right? Certain people may see certain things, and so that's okay, you know. So Awi Patayo, how you doing, Baba? You know, if I said Ire Ishegun,